who wouldn't love seeing a slasher movie of just a weird Australian guy picking off dumb American tourists and feeding them to sharks, or having to outsmart them on boats or even on land? Like,
right places, please, and action.
Tell me that ain't the greatest show on earth.
what is up, Drive-By Movies here, and you are watching
Fresh Releases.
My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And this year, or this summer, I should say, a movie got released. It did okay in theaters, got some great reviews, and now it's finally reached Shudder. We are checking out Dangerous Animals.
Yeah, you and me, we fend for ourselves. We're sharks.
I'm nothing like you.
Dangerous Animals is Sean Byrne's first film in 10 years, and it is the story of Zephyr, a savvy, free-spirited surfer that is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive on his boat. She must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. So, James, I feel like this film was pretty hyped just based on the fact that it's been 10 years since Sean Byrne's last movie. And when he came onto the scene with The Loved Ones in 2009, it was a big deal. I would say that was a very extreme movie for the time. I don't know if it's kind of held up to how extreme it is in recent years, but it was a big kind of splash that he made onto like the international kind of horror film scene. And he followed up with Devil's Candy, but I don't think that had garnered. I know we reviewed that on our podcast, and I don't think that kind of got as much attention as, The Loved Ones, and he kind of, I don't know what he did for the past 10 years, but he's back, and Dangerous Animals is on Shudder now. What'd you think of the film?
Yeah, so I'm just glad he's back, because those are some of my favorite horror films of the last 2 decades, honestly. Devil's Candy and Loved Ones, both movies I own physically on Blu-ray, even though I don't really watch my Blu-ray. But actually I own the Loved Ones on a special fan-made VHS edition. That's how much I enjoy his work. And when this movie was announced, I was just like, what a fun idea. A serial killer who feeds people to sharks. That sounds fun. I am in. And this is definitely his weakest movie, but a weak Sean Byrne movie doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I still generally enjoyed it. And it's fun talking about Sean Byrne as if he's an auteur in the horror genre. He hasn't done anything remotely groundbreaking, you could say, but you feel that he has a voice and is trying to be different in a genre that can feel oversaturated at times. There's a lot of movies that incorporate metal music, but I always felt like The Devil's Candy is one of the true metal horror films that felt authentic. I remember there was a movie called Deathgasm that came out at around the same time, and that I was just this feels like a bunch of posers just made a metal movie. I'm not saying the director isn't a fan of metal. You can feel they wrote that with the intention of it being a love letter to metal music, but just the actors and just the storyline I thought were over the top. But Devil's Candy I thought felt authentic. But this movie, we'll get into its faults. More of it has to do with the spoilers. But what are your thoughts coming out of it?
How long have we seen Jai Courtney on film screens and always question why he was even there, maybe? And this might be the first movie in his career where I'm like, Jai Courtney might be a good actor. It just feels like I've seen him so many times and almost been like, Jai Courtney, he's fine, but is he really adding anything to this movie? And he would be in so many franchises, I feel like. And he kind of tapered off his career a little bit. And then he's in this, and I'm like, he's center stage, and I felt like he was excellent in this movie. I really, really liked his performance. Aside from one scene, I really enjoyed his performance in this movie and thought he did really well. But yeah, I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, dude, Jai Courtney's been in so many franchises, so many movies. I feel like I've seen him since Sean Byrne's disappeared for the last 10 years. He's definitely been on screen for at least more than 10 years. And I don't know if I've liked him in anything, but Dangerous Animals might be the first film I really enjoyed him in.
Yeah, I've seen Jai Courtney in so many movies. Like, I remember thinking he was funny in Suicide Squad, but like he was hardly in that movie too. He's like hardly in the center stage of that movie, and that movie's also just god awful in general. But like I've never seen him really in like a leading role. Like I do remember seeing him in the Die Hard movie. I think he plays Bruce Willis's son. And then forget what other movies I've seen him in, but he's never stuck out in anything. And he just goes full pull in this movie, just goes all out, which is kind of the over the topness and really chews out the scenery. But it works out, and this kind of movie needs that, especially when you have such dull protagonists. Like, why does this girl think that she can't accept love and she like has to desert this guy? But also, like, this guy is not romantic. You just blackmailed this girl into giving you a ride, and just like there is no chemistry whatsoever there. That just felt so forced, and I just did not care about that. They're the main characters, so like they weren't like, I didn't hate them. I was just like, I don't believe this chemistry whatsoever. I don't believe they're truly in love. I don't believe this guy would ever spend this many days figuring out what happened to this girl and like trying to care so much. Like you know, there is the motivation factor, and you know the plot also has to keep moving forward, but just I thought we could have wrote better stories or just focus all on Jai Courtney. And I am going to get into the spoiler aspects of the movie right now. Jai Courtney dies at the end of the movie. Everyone has been begging for a new serial killer. Everyone loves sharks. You could have made like 3 dumb cat and mouse chase movies where he's just luring people in. You could have gone to the creep factor where he has all these VHS tapes of different people who's killed. Like, you can still do a prequel aspect, I guess, if you wanted to. But just like, who wouldn't love seeing a slasher movie of just a weird Australian guy picking off dumb American tourists and feeding them to sharks, or having to outsmart them on boats or even on land? Like, the endless opportunities like Shudder could have had with this, like, could have turned this into a dumb franchise, but instead we're stuck with VHS sequels, which I love that franchise, but just like it's oversaturated now, though. I'm just like tired of it. Like, why is that the franchise of Shudder?
Guess we're reviewing next week.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah,
it is maybe a tradition, though.
Yeah, I think at this point we've gone too far. We just need to keep reviewing shitty VHS sequels that we all inevitably end up hating because we've done it for fucking like 10 years in a row. It feels like at this point. I don't even know how many VHS movies there are at this point, but I know one's coming out fairly soon. I don't know if it's next week, but this year we'll have a VHS review for, I don't even know what the new VHS is named.
Halloween, apparently. Actually, VHS Halloween, I think, is what it's called.
So you know it's going to be bad, basically. But yeah, I agree with you there. I think that this was a missed opportunity in that sense. I think a lot of that probably hedges on the fact that Sean Byrne came back after 10 years. Does he really want to only now make create his own franchise? Maybe that would have been the most business savvy decision on his part, but for somebody that's going to take 10 years off, we probably know he's probably not the most business savvy at this point. So I understand why he didn't. It's a more artistic choice to not go that route. But you know, it would have been cool maybe for that, especially because we are in a time where people are begging for new horror icons. I mean, you've seen how Terrifier's almost like fast tracked itself into being like an icon. It has its own Halloween Horror Nights maze. Is it deserved? I don't know. You be the judge of that, but it almost feels like that this could have been another route in a very interesting kind of way, because it merges one of the greatest horror films of all time, greatest slasher films of all time, Jaws, and then like almost this cat and mouse serial killer like you were mentioning. So I feel like this could have been a really cool opportunity for a franchise.
Yeah, and you know, this, because it's a low budget horror film, like, and you know, this is definitely has that indie feel. Like, you are supposed to care about these characters, and you know, I could be in the minority. Maybe a lot of people felt like they loved the 2 main characters and thought that there was chemistry. It just personally didn't work for me, just because it felt very trope based. Just because we've seen that kind of story so many times, where a girl in a horror film just is running away and feels like they don't deserve like any kind of love, so they have to like turn away any person that, like, you know, even shows remote sign of affection, I guess. But just, it just felt forced. Like I feel like I've seen that same plot line 3 times this year. So just seeing it again in a movie that I thought had such a cool concept was just a disappointment, because this movie has a lot going for it. Like, Jai Courtney is the best part of the movie and highly recommend checking it out just for his performance, but just sucks that we couldn't have explored it for a longer period. Just because, like, yeah, this movie's so close to being great. Like, I still enjoyed it. It's just like just a slight missed opportunity, but still I applaud it for being like an original movie. And just like, also I was just like, all right, we got that one kill, like that was a clever fun kill, the first girl that he murders on screen for us. But I was just like, where are we gonna go with the other two? And it built that suspense of me thinking like, oh god, here we go again, it's happening. And then, like, you know, it's a fake out. There are a lot of fake outs in this movie, which I could see King getting on some people's nerves, but it helps keep the tension going for the whole movie for me and like made it fun for me.
So is the antagonist dance sequence the new padding the runtime move for independent filmmakers? Because it felt like we got in Ex Machina, like antagonist dance sequence in their underwear specifically with like a robe on or just some type of shirt that's open up. This is the exact scene from Ex Machina in this film, just redone with Jai Courtney. So I'm like, this is the new move. If you want, I mean, we always knew that if you want to pad your runtime, if you don't have enough of a movie, dude, add beginning credits that just keep saying, like, you give the production assistant a credit in the beginning of the movie. You also can, you know, throw in music video sequences, but what about an antagonist dancing in their undies sequence? That's the next move, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, and just like it was a good sense of like, because I mean, this could just be me, but like, I mean, maybe you got the same sense too, but like, it was a funny take on like post nut clarity, just in showing that he himself is a nut. Just because like when I was watching with my girlfriend at the time, like I was just like, oh, this is a sex thing for him. Like, it was like Death Proof, like the cop like trying to reason like, why would someone do this? Like, it's a weird sex thing that must be that he's into. And like, you know, he craves it. He does it twice in the movie, trying to hunt down girls in Death Proof. And then in this movie, like just that slow motion sequence when he feeds that first girl, and just like him like doing the slow breaths, and just like, wow, that was like art that I just filmed and stuff. Like, I was like, yeah, this is like an orgasmic feeling for him getting that. And that was like his post nut clarity, being like, I need to have some drinks and just like thrust my anger out and stuff. So that scene worked for me. It worked in favor of the film and just showing how crazy he was. And that's why also it just like goes to show a missed opportunity. This guy could have been way crazier and stuff. And so I thought it was like a funny thing to explore. Yeah, that scene worked for me.
But if you're an artist that really cared about your art, do you think you'd shoot on something greater than VHS in the Lord's year of 2025?
Also, those tapes are, those like camcorders are expensive. Anytime, the one time I found one, it was like $150 at a Salvation Army thrift store, and I really wanted to buy it, but I was like, there's not even like, there's a possibility that it doesn't even work. Also, like, I know those kind of places, they test to make sure it at least turns on, but it doesn't mean it works. So I was like, I'm not spending that at a effing Goodwill for one of those. And the fact that he owned one and then goes to a thrift store and finds one right away, I was dying laughing. I was like, those are so hard to find.
It's just so funny. Like, literally, they just announced recently that Nikon is making a camera that is going to be on the level of Red for like $2,000. Oh, like, because Nikon purchased Red a couple years back because they were trying to create the same process. Like, Nikon's always been shit, and they were trying to create the same style of raw footage that Red uses, but then Red sued them, so then Nikon just decided, well, fuck it, we'll just buy you guys. So they bought Red, and now they're produced their first camera that's coming out, I think next year or later this year, that's gonna be like a DSLR that shoots Red style footage. Like, it's gonna be 6K raw footage. I just thought that's funny. I'm like, bro, and when this shit exists, this dude's filming on like VHS cameras, like, and he really cares about his art. Like, you see how orgasmic he is when he's watching this shark feeding, but then like you can't even see it on VHS, bro. It's gonna be so grainy and like noisy. Anyways, small plot holes I picked up on. They're not plot holes, but just annoyances where I'm like, bro, really? Come on, dude. Yeah. You know, you got to care about the footage.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, like, this is off topic, but just like going to concerts these days, I think it was the band Turnstile that's kind of made it a thing to like shoot their shows like on camcorders. So I remember going to a Vans Warped Tour. Someone brought a camcorder camera, was filming, just walking around, and was recording bands on it. And it wasn't like, you know, a nice fancy camcorder. It was a camcorder that you and I would use in high school to make like short films on. And then also I remember seeing Nocte perform on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and there were guys who brought in a camcorder for that too. And I was just like cracking up how like low quality video stuff is like in right now, I guess you could say. And yeah, maybe Jai Courtney's a hipster like us, I guess.
You needed like glasses and a deep V to really like sell the whole hipster lifestyle. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was cool to see Sean Byrne back. I felt like, you know, after 10 years of I don't know if he was up to working on TV or what. So I don't know what he was doing for the last 10 years. I know it make it sound like he wasn't doing anything, but for him to kind of direct another horror film, it goes straight to Shudder. It play in theaters, and and Shudder actually believed in it because I think it was there for longer than Highest to Lowest, and did receive some sort of marketing as opposed to Highest to Lowest. But yeah, like it just feels like we're in a good place here in 2025. The fact that we can see somebody like him who made 2 really impressive horror films kind of disappear and then come back, and hopefully there's more in store.
Yeah, whether or not we love this movie or not, like, you know, I liked it. It still stands out, and Sean Byrne feels like he's back, and I hope he keeps going. What are your thoughts on the movie? Great way to help support it. Watch it on Shudder or rent it through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below. Keep the conversation going in the comments down below.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
Oh, and updates. Speaking of that, be sure to catch all our social media links down below. We have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also our own personal letterbox accounts. That'll be it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new video.